Hey everyone, today we're going to be taking a look at a PC that was given to me by a family member, essentially just to recycle for them. And I went ahead and took it. I looked at it and said, you know what? I'm going to make a PC out of this that you could potentially bring to a LAN party and people would laugh you out of the place because obviously it's an old, very old, slow PC. But I thought, hey, it might be fun to go ahead and put some, decent internals inside of it and, show some people that it has some capability. All right, let's get straight to the meat of this PC. I know you guys have been waiting to see such a beast. And this has a 2.4 gigahertz single-core Celeron, 256 megabytes of memory, a 40 gig IDE hard drive, and 64 megabytes of dedicated video memory. Still has a floppy drive in it, 3.5-inch floppy, and a CD-ROM drive that's also IDE. A 250 watt power supply, or max power, shall I say. Who knows what the wattage capability really is. I did take out the CPU and the memory earlier before shooting this video, so I like to keep those as souvenirs or just do something with them. And it does have room for a single 3.5-inch drive in the front, oddly enough. But yeah, it's got some ventilation there on the bottom, and it's something to work with. It's not too terrible. So I went ahead and removed everything out of the case. Went ahead and took out the IDE cables, the power supply, the front 3.5-inch hard drive cage, I/O shield, motherboard. Essentially just gutted everything and prepped it up, cleaned it up a little bit. The only thing that I really had to change in order to get everything to work was the front panel connectors. Pretty much here they have a little proprietary connector on the end, but we have power LED, hard drive LED, and a DC switch which is just for power on. On the back side there's a key lock, reset, and speaker, but none of those have any pins, so they're not utilized. So in order to fix this or change this, essentially, I had to just remove the pins from the proprietary connector, and I had some K headers, I forget what they're called, left over from my previous job, and I went ahead and just used those connectors and just took the pins out and just made my own connectors for the front panel, essentially. So it wasn't a whole lot. We're talking just 6 wires all in all, but it's relatively easy just to pop them out and make your own headers for it. So I did take some electrical tape to kind of put them in their own little setup here, so it's easier just to connect them and whatnot. So yeah, it wasn't too bad at all. So I did remove the 3.5-inch floppy drive, and I figured, hey, let's put a media card reader in there instead to make it a little bit more modern, and I could hide that with the door, so it's kind of nice. I also needed some way to bring in some fresh air from the front, so I grabbed a Fantex static pressure 120 millimeter fan and connected that just with 2 screws in the front, just through some of the outlets or holes that I could find. Kind of just made use of it. It does a decent job of bringing in enough fresh air to the chassis. There's kind of just here you can kind of see the opening in the front, so it's kind of hidden, but it does a decent job of bringing in fresh air, and there's plenty of space for it as well. Here's the media card setup, and you can just flip the door up and hide it so it doesn't draw any unnecessary attention. Unfortunately, the footage I took of me assembling the PC got deleted by accident, so I do apologize for that. So we'll have to make do with just some pictures that I took of everything afterwards. What we have here is essentially a 3570K sitting underneath a stock cooler. It is not overclocked. Need an aftermarket cooler in order to do that, so it would be cool enough. But this chip is capable of 4.8 gigahertz, but probably not on this board. And then we also the board itself is a BioStar H61 Micro ATX, nothing special, just bare bones, basic. It has 8 gigabytes of Kingston HyperX 1600 megahertz DDR3, and I have a Radeon HD 7970 with the gigahertz BIOS loaded, so it boosts to 1050 megahertz on the core. And I have a 240 gigabyte Corsair SSD. Above all that is a 500 watt EVGA bronze rated power supply. So it's a pretty basic build. This would have been high end maybe 4 or 5 years ago or less, but it's still very capable in playing a lot of multiplayer games. Overwatch, Battlefield 1, anything that CS:GO, anything like that. It's very capable playing any games like that at 1080p. So no problems there, but it's kind of funny because you have this older looking computer and you have some decent internals inside. So it's kind of from the outside, you really can't tell at all. The only thing that may give it away is seeing the dual PCI brackets being utilized by a dual slot video card. But the I/O shield in the back, nothing really special there. It's pretty bare bones and basic. So, and also the power supply is black, so it doesn't really match with the case. But anyways, I kind of threw all this together. I thought it'd be kind of funny to see some modern internals inside of an old case, an old computer setup. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section. And thanks a lot.